Mitt Romney is a liar. Okay, now, the rest of the media doesn't say that because they say, oh, well, that would be non-neutral. My God, that you would be saying something that you could back up with facts. We wouldn't do that if we were the mainstream media. We have just call everything even, right? But it's not even, and I have an excellent example. Look, I can give you a million examples, just a quick side one for you. He says President Obama doubled the deficit. It's just a flat-out lie. There's no other way to describe it. When President Obama came into office in 2008, he was given a $1.2 trillion deficit by George W. Bush. That's how much the deficit was when President Obama walked into the office, 1.2 trillion. How much was it last year? 1.1 trillion, actually lower than when President Obama came in. So how is that doubling the deficit? It's a lie. Even if they meant the debt, now those trillions handed in by Bush, and you can say continued by Obama if you want, that's fair, right? Add about $5 trillion over the course of those 4 years. Before that, our debt was around 10 to 11 trillion. So you can say, hey, you know what? The debt increased by 50%. Now that would be misleading because he got handed that deficit, but hey, it's true. Okay, so you can make that case, right? But that's not what Romney says. He doesn't say debt, he says deficit. He doesn't say 50%, he says he doubled it. It's a lie, it's nothing but a lie. Now, here's another awesome lie from Romney. He says, if I'm elected, I will add 12 million jobs. Wow, 12 million in his first term in 4 years. Well, that's kind of amazing. How in the world would you do that? He says, no, it's okay. Economists have already confirmed that I would add 12 million jobs. I love that. Like that economists all got together and they're like, yeah, confirm. Everybody agrees? 12 million? 11? 9? 13? Oh, well, 12 million it is. No, he picked 3 different studies, and you're going to love the details. First of all, no economist believes he would add 12 million jobs. He's found 3 different economic reports that he claims, if you add them together, equal 12 million jobs. But nobody added them together except Mitt Romney. So one report says we could have 3 million extra jobs. Another one says we could have 7 million extra jobs. And another one says 2 million extra jobs. So he says, well, 3 plus 7 plus 2 equals 12. No, but wait a minute, they're in the same time period. So you can't just add them together. The maximum one, the one that benefits you the most, is 7 million. Now, are these over the next 4 years? No, it gets better. So the 3 million jobs is over the next 8 years. According to the estimate on the 7 million jobs, it's over the next 10 years. And the 2 million jobs is over an indefinite time period. So it's not 12 million, and it's not over the next 4 years. Now, here comes the third layer of the lie. Is it because of Romney's plans? Nope. The 3 million number comes from Morse Citigroup, and what they said was, this is what we expect the economy to add over the next 8 years if we continue our existing policy. So it has nothing to do with Romney if we continue our existing policies. But it gets better, because Romney will not continue our existing policies. So, for example, he'll take away the fuel efficiency standards, which according to this report will add jobs. So how can Mitt Romney count those 3 million jobs when the report itself says that if you continue the policies that Romney's not in favor of, we would add 3 million jobs? Now, the 7 million is by Rice University professor John Diamond. And I love this because he says, why would we create the 7 million jobs? Well, apparently he's a supply-side conservative right-wing economist, so he says, well, if you reduce taxes, you always add jobs. Oh, what a fail. But wait, we just did that for the last 10 years, and we didn't add jobs, we lost jobs. So what happened? Okay, no, he says, if you reduce taxes, and by the way, if the plan is revenue neutral, which it's not, and it reduces deficit, which it doesn't, then we would add 7 million jobs. But none of that stuff is true. Okay, that's the one that's most beneficial, and by the way, it takes 10 years, not 4 years. The last one's my favorite. The 2 million jobs, that's a May 2011 report by the U.S. International Trade Commission. Huh, interesting. They came out in favor of Romney? No, they didn't. That 2 million has absolutely nothing to do with Romney. They say, if China stops ignoring U.S. intellectual property rights, then we could add another 2.1 million jobs here in the U.S. So what does that have to do with Romney? Romney says, well, the minute I get elected, obviously I'd be so tough on China, they would say, we will immediately enforce all those U.S. intellectual property rights that we have not enforced at all before this. Well, that's it. Add another 2 million to Romney. You see this? The whole campaign by Romney is predicated on lies. And it's an interesting strategy, actually, because they've decided, well, we've intimidated the media so much that they're going to call everything 50-50 anyway. So that doesn't mean that we can lie a little bit. It actually means we can lie a lot. We can lie about almost everything because there's no way in the world the media is going to say, oh my God, one side is lying about everything. Because my God, that would seem so biased, right? So perfect. That gives us an opportunity to do lying on a grand scale. And if you're going to lie about 2 or 3 things, why not just lie about everything? And in fact, you'll keep them so busy that they won't have time to call out all your different lies. It's an interesting strategy. And honestly, since they're tied at this point nationally, it's a strategy that's been somewhat effective. They were right. The media generally did not call them out. And it has not been nearly as well established with the facts that you can use as I just did. Every single media organization in this country should be pointing that out. Not to be biased against Romney, but to give the American people the real facts before they vote so that you can actually do your job. Your job is to bring information and facts to the American people. Now, if you did that, would they really be tied? Would the guy who's lying about almost everything in his plan be tied with the guy who, yeah, it's not that Obama doesn't lie, and should the press call him out on that? Of course they should. They should call him out on the drone strikes and his kill list and all those different things. But as far as campaign rhetoric and plans, etc., is it close? It's not remotely close. But that's exactly why the media won't do it. Because then it'll seem like, wow, we called Romney a liar 12 different times and Obama only 2 times. So let's just not do it at all. Let's just abdicate our responsibility. That's what's wrong with American politics.